Well, hey there, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Kevin Snyder. And today I want to share a story with you. I want to share an insight that I feel confident will help you personally set a new bar for this year. To envision some new possibility, even if you're feeling a little distracted, or maybe you're feeling that adversity already at the beginning of the year. But this is also a message that I feel will help you and your organization, you and your team set a new bar and think bigger than you ever have in the past. And if you've ever seen me present, I am a storyteller. And I believe stories are great ways to help people find solutions to problems. And the story that I want to share with you today, and it was just a story I presented in a motivational speech this past weekend that really resonated with the group I was speaking to, and it's the story of the Pike Place Fish Market. Now, some of you know this story already, but I'm going to share with you a personal connection, so stay tuned. Now, the Pike Place Fish Market is based in where? Seattle, Washington, okay? But envision this is in the early 90s, and the Pike Place Fish Market was a struggling fish market, surrounded by other fish markets. And their product was what? What were they selling? Well, yes, dead fish. Okay, so look, their product is dead fish. And what happened was morale was low, turnover was high, maybe something you're experiencing right now, but a new manager came into his team and said to his team, inspire them and say, look, if we don't think differently, if we don't do something different to differentiate, we're not going to be around much longer. So for those of you that know this story, you already know what the fish market decided to do that made them literally world famous and why we're talking about them today. What did they do? Well, they decided to engage their prospective customers a little differently, right? You're not going to just walk by the Pike Place Fish Market. No, they're going to pull you in. They're going to make like a crowd of people hovered around them, literally throwing fish. And if you decide to buy a fish, I mean, look at the smiles on these faces. If you decide to buy a fish, then you're going to go behind the counter, you're going to catch it, or maybe they'll let you throw it to them. You know, the tuna, the oysters, the salmon, whatever that might be, right? Now look at this picture and remind yourself, she's holding a dead fish. Look at that smile, right? And this one, I mean, this one's a little much, right? Yeah, absolutely. This one's a lot much. We'll call that a healthy obsession, right? But when you look at what the Pike Place Fish Market was able to do, it's really phenomenal. And they became world famous where people literally came, they took their lunch breaks, the tourists walking by would stop by the Pike Place Fish Market to watch these people work. And I think the message here, you know, whether you're watching this by yourself or maybe you decided to share this at a team meeting with other people, this story really can create conversation about how all of us, how you, how me as a speaker, right? How do we stand out? How do we stand out? You likely have competitors, right? I do. I don't look at it necessarily that way, but I focus on what differentiates me. And that is one of the ways that we stand out in the sea of sameness. So nothing is going to change this year. Whenever you might be watching this video, nothing is going to change this year or next year unless we make one, right? And it starts with how we think, right? Are we willing to envision new possibility? And during times of adversity or where circumstances are not ideal, I'll be honest, it's tough. Maybe we don't even feel safe. Right? We have to be in a safe space. So for you as a leader, if you've got a team of people and you really want to encourage them to think big, to kind of push through some of that, to get to that next level, you know, to raise the bar, you got to be the bar. As I say, it's really going to start with asking yourselves the right questions and helping your people find a safe space where they feel okay to take some risk. And even if they fail upward, not forward, they fail upward. So here's one way that we want to think about differentiation, and this is the key. This is one of the practical steps here, and I share this with my organizations all the time, is what differentiates you is the experience you provide delivering it. So for those of you that are in associations, right? I talk to a lot of association execs at their state conferences. Your customers are your members, right? Or your vendors. So what differentiates you is the experience you provide your association members. Well, maybe you're part of a specific organization. Maybe you're an educator. Maybe you're a CPA or an HR leader. I talk to a wide variety of groups. I don't know really who you might be unless you know me. But for you and your organization, for you and your specific industry, the experience you provide delivering it is truly, truly what differentiates you. So the question really becomes, how can we create experiences, right, for our members, for our employees, for my team? But also I want you to be thinking about this. How do we create experiences, literally, where we convert prospects into raving fans who take pictures of us? Think about that. And you could just stop the video right here. I'm going to give you a little bonus tip here. Now, we'll give you a little bonus tip. So I'd maybe hit pause right now, and if you're in a group setting, maybe ask your team, what differentiates us? What can differentiate us? Better yet, how can we differentiate ourselves? See the difference with that? Right? When we ask ourselves how, we open our mind up to the creative possibility we can. It's not can we or can't we, it's how can we, right? How can we? So I have a number one keynote right now. It's called Becoming a Shift Thinker. Got to be real careful how you say that. Shift Thinker. Because the pandemic made pivoting popular. So if you're still pivoting, you're going around in circles. That's a whole nother program. But Shift Thinker has these 4 principles. I'd love to share these with you and your team. Number 1, got to have a growth mindset, right? To believe in yourself, to believe that things can be different and better, right? That's number 1. I share with you in the program how to do that. Number 2, we got to think differently. Did the Pike Place market, did they think differently? Absolutely. Did they have a growth mindset? Yeah. And envision the no. I love this. Envision the no, which stands for new opportunity. I'm an acronym guy. You know that. No is a new opportunity. So next time somebody tells you no, good. It means you're on the right track. Anytime maybe somebody says, well, we tried it that way, Sarah. We tried it that way, Peter. Tanya, right? Good. Give it another try. Maybe try a little bit different. And then the 4th step, or the 4th piece of the Shift Thinker model is really about taking the right types of action. Because in my opinion, and I do believe this, action changes things. The first 3 principles here in Shift Thinker, growth mindset, think differently, envision the new opportunity, well, those are all basically internal, right? Those are internal within ourselves and others. Action is what we actually have to do, right? And that's where most people they struggle because I don't know what action to take. Well, maybe I can help you with that. So just reach out to me if this program would be a good fit to help you with some of your goals for this year ahead. I do keynotes, I do workshops of all types. But I want to take this a step further. Here's the bonus part right now. So a couple years ago, I'm doing a keynote in Seattle, Washington, and I decide I'm going to go down to the Pike Place Fish Market to see if they walk their talk, right? Have you ever followed somebody or looked up to somebody as a leader or as a person, and something happened where you discovered they didn't really walk their talk? Yeah, I mean, for me, I hate that, and so I have to be real careful as a professional speaker that I'm giving you the right content that actually works, and I hope that you respect that in the spirit of authenticity. So I bought my fish. Right, there was a crowd of people hovering around the Pike Place Fish Market, and when I turned the corner and I saw this crowd of people, I was like, wow, yes, they're walking their talk. But number 2, I actually felt bad, and you know who I felt bad for? The other fish markets, because they were empty, right? They were empty. Now, maybe they were thinking, well, we can't throw fish, Kevin, right? That's what they do, right? But could they have done something different? Yes or yes? Of course, they just still made a choice. And by not making a choice is still a choice. I wish we got that message out better too, especially to our youth. So I bought my fish, and as you can see here, I got my salmon, right? And well, let's just say my wife hates this picture, so we'll cover her up. And that's not my wife. And ShiftThinker is exactly what happened with the Pike Place Fish Market. But here's why. Catch this. The gentleman on the far right is Sammy. The gentleman on the far left is Justin. When I asked them their daily schedule, I said, you guys seem to love what you do. You just work a couple hours a day or something? And they said, no, we're here at 5 a.m. We shovel ice until about 8 a.m. The fish come in. We put the dead fish on the ice. Then around 10:30, 11, the tourists and the lunch people start coming in, and then we sell the fish, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. But then around 2, they start to leave, and then we clean up. And we leave around 4. And guess what they do the next day? The same thing. So one of the things that I've discovered over the years, and this is a completely different message. You know, I could take the Pike Place Fish Market, like I did this past weekend, take this one story, turn it into an hour-long workshop, an hour-long keynote. I mean, this could be a whole theme, right? How do we differentiate? How do we inspire our people? Because catch this, how did this come to be? One person inspired a team that became world famous, that set a new bar. People don't get burned out by what they do. They get burned out because they forget why they do it. And if you're in education of any type, you know what I'm talking about. I grew up in a family of teachers. I used to be one. I still am in some ways. But there's so many careers and so many industries where, yes, there's so much great purpose. And we can't forget that why that matters and why we got into it at the first place. You know, effort sometimes can feel overwhelming, but that effort matters. And we have to just feel safe to take some risk, or we're going to be caught up in the ways we've always done something. One person inspired his people, and his people came up with the idea. So I hope this message with some of these insights about differentiation, about how to inspire other people, how to think bigger and better than ever before. I hope this message does resonate with you, and I hope you share it. You know, be the ripple effect of positive change. And if I could share this full ShiftThinker program with you or your organization, I would be more than honored to work with you in the year ahead. So take care, and hope to see you soon. Take care.